Well, I'm delighted today to be here at the Park Hyatt in Dubai, speaking to Aideen and Dimple from EER. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to see you back here in Dubai again, and thank you for inviting us today.
Wonderful to be back and to be talking again with EER. We've made some great content together and looking forward to a discussion today on corporate governance, why it's important for people to get it right. Perhaps, Aideen, for those who've not met you at one of our events, you could explain a little bit more about your background and what you do at EER.
Yeah, so I'm Aideen Hopkins. I am the co-owner and operations director at EER. We're based headquartered here in Dubai with offices having recently expanded into Saudi Arabia as well. So we're providing relocation, immigration and corporate services. So working with companies that are looking to enter into the region here, helping them set up, make sure that they're compliant from an immigration perspective with their employees, and then helping them to settle in the country as quickly as possible with their families.
Fantastic. Huge opportunities in Saudi. I mean, we'll get into some of the details shortly, but it must be exciting times for your company launching out into the Saudi market.
Very exciting, and we've had such a very positive experience. You know, we opened up back at the beginning of this year, and we're now currently offering immigration and relocation services with a plan to roll out corporate services early next year. And I have to say, it's been a really positive experience. Everybody that we meet there, very engaging, warm, welcoming and friendly, and you know, there's super opportunities there for everybody, and we're delighted that we're there and up and running.
Fantastic. And Dimple, it'd be great to hear a little bit more about your background.
Hi David, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Dimple Torralba. I head the Corporate Services Division in EER. So what the Corporate Services team does is we assist clients with the entry to the UAE market, structuring and restructuring. We also help with corporate services administration and operations, as well as ensuring that the companies are complying with the annual statutory obligations in the UAE.
Fantastic. Well, it's fair to say that Dubai is booming. Every time we come back, there seems to be a bit more of an evolution on the growth story. Lots of new entrepreneurs coming into town.
Yeah,
and why do you find, Aideen, that entrepreneurs who arrive here need to look at the corporate governance and setup and make sure that they can get it right?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I mean, Dubai has very well established legal and regulatory frameworks. Particularly over the last number of years, we have seen quite a lot of new regulation introduced into Dubai. So I think it's vital for companies to ensure that they are compliant with all of these obligations. So by having a strong and robust corporate governance practice in their business, it makes sure that they are compliant and that they're avoiding legal issues or any sanctions or fines and penalties that would come their way for non-compliance.
Because it's easy to arrive in Dubai and the service culture here makes things seem easy, but lifting the lid, if you're going to be involved in business activity or either as a sort of solo entrepreneur or doing more than that, there's a lot of complexity there, isn't there, underneath the surface?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, and I think, you know, with corporate governance, you know, it's not just making sure that you're meeting your legal and regulatory obligations, but it has other impacts on your business as well, from a reputation and brand image perspective. You know, and very much, let's say, you know, the UAE and Dubai in particular, we're always looking to attract foreign investment. And I think that foreign investors that are meeting with companies that have good, strong processes from a corporate governance perspective, you know, backed up by sound management as well, that's leading to certainly very good investor confidence. You know, it enhances your brand reputation. And I think also very important for succession planning. You know, for example, if you look at family offices, and, you know, there are many family offices here in the region that, you know, often the perception is that after the third generation, they might struggle to continue. And I think, again, by introducing good governance, you know, you're ensuring that succession planning and long-term sustainability of your business, whether that is making sure that, you know, relationships between your internal and external stakeholders are well managed, It's doing that separation of ownership and management. It's making sure that, you know, those that are running the business are being held accountable, that you're managing risk from a business perspective as well. So that, as and when, you know, we're constantly evolving and changing here. So if a company is well managed, it's able to adapt quickly and meet any new obligations and changes that come their way.
It's not about burdensome bureaucracy, is it? It's actually good corporate governance is about helping them achieve their goals, isn't it? And providing a framework for good decision making.
Exactly.
And robust accountability, isn't it?
Yes, so it's all about transparency,
Yeah.
transparency and accountability, making sure that you're doing everything. And yes, there's again, you know, meeting all of those requirements. But you know, employees now, you know, we're in a market that finding talent is challenging, you know, and I think employees are looking to join companies that are well managed, well run and structured, and seeing those good corporate governance practices in place is something that's reassuring to employees that are looking to join you as well. And I think, you know, if you're coming in as an entrepreneur, you know, your focus is very much on getting your operations off the ground. It's about building your client base. It's about, you know, doing your marketing, delivering on that strategy and execution. That sometimes those legal and regulatory obligations can fall to the back of your mind. So again, you have to ensure that you're meeting those, and you know, everything can be pretty much on an annual basis, and depending on what jurisdiction you're in, so whether you're in a free zone, you're on the mainland, or you're offshore, you will have different reporting requirements that are needed. Deadline dates may differ as well. So keeping up with all of that is really challenging.
Because I suppose as well, they might not come to light for many years, but someone could build an enterprise on poor corporate governance, but when they realise is when the enterprise is valued for sale or something like that, and this is not in place.
This is
so
not in place.
It's about creating value in that enterprise, isn't it? Sound corporate governance
Absolutely.
might not be discovered immediately.
No,
but
until down
there will
the
be a
line.
reckoning.
Yes, you know, absolutely. And I think, you know, you can just get so bogged down in the day-to-day that you forget, you know, having a business, it's all about building a story.
Yeah.
You know, and having a story to tell, so that if you are looking at selling, or there's something happening down the future, that you're able to tell your story, how you evolved over time. You're able to provide that evidence that, yes, we have audited financial statements year on year. Yes, you know, we have the good corporate governance. We've met all of our obligations. You know, one of the big ones that we've seen, let's say for EER, we're a corporate service provider, so we fall under AML and CFT regulations. So, you know, under that, the government is auditing and conducting audits on its CSP providers to make sure that they are meeting all of their obligations there. So, you know, we've been audited past that, thankfully, you know, so those things are ongoing because, you know, the UAE, it's evolving and maturing as an economy as well. So they're making sure that they're putting stronger regulation in place, you know, so that we have this great brand and reputation outside of here as well.
Thank you. And Dimple, I mean, how do you work with your clients to help them mitigate risk? What are some of the things you would describe to them about what you can help them do?
Right. So at EER, what we've done is we've designed corporate governance packages that we offer to our clients. We have 3 basic packages. The first package is the basic package. What we do with the basic package is we review and assess the company's annual obligations, and then we also ensure that they are aware of their deadlines, their due dates, so they don't miss anything. They don't risk any potential fines. And then the second package is our standard package. So it's the basic package, and then we add in the board secretary package, wherein we offer annual board package for the year, wherein what's included are the board meetings and then any resolutions for any decisions that were made during the board meeting. And the last one is a premium package. This is where clients would like for us to give them the full service, wherein is the basic package, the premium package, as well as all of the annual renewals that are required to be completed for the company for the year.
Okay, thank you. And do you find, Aideen, that taking a platinum package and actually being more involved, having that framework, really takes a load off those, as you say, trying to market, build a business, prove a concept, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
As they say, a human son is never shot. So I would love if somebody did that for us, and I could just focus on what I need to do, because it can be very distracting from the day job.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're meeting all of those obligations. So you absolutely need to make sure that you're aware of all of your deadlines and that all of your work is done in advance to make sure that you are submitting everything. Whether that's making sure that your audit statements are signed off, done, and submitted, your license is renewed, enabling you to carry on in your business. And now, of course, we have the introduction of corporate tax. So that's yet another new filing that is coming our way. And, that came into effect from the 1st of June. But of course, companies that have a financial year from 1 Jan to the end of December, 1st of January 2024 now will be our corporate tax year. So we'll be looking to do our first return by September 2025.
Yeah.
So again, tax is new to all of us here.
Yeah.
In my time, we've seen the introduction of VAT. Now we have corporate tax, new to everybody. So we've seen a lot of companies and people enter the market that are able to give tax advice to clients, so that we're up and ready for 1 January.
And so how would you help at EER given this new tax landscape?
Yeah, so again, we have partners that we work with. We're not providing any tax advice ourselves. We're not authorised or qualified to do so. So we would introduce and work with our partners who would support our clients to make sure that they are meeting those commitments. And, again, as a small business, for example, you may not have the capacity to hire somebody. You won't have somebody in the company that's maybe au fait with corporate tax and that. So what smaller companies might do to begin with is outsource. So they'll find a partner, outsource that work until such time that they grow and develop, and maybe they can begin to bring it in-house.
So Aideen, as companies grow and scale, they start employing people locally. How might you help businesses growing and growing their workforce here in the UAE?
Yeah, so at EER we have an immigration division. So then we help our employees with residence and work visas for their employees and also for the dependents of their employees. So it's making sure that every single employee is fully compliant to be working in that company, has the correct permission, if you like, to be there, whether that's by way of a visa, a work visa, or an access card or something like that. So we take them through, what is required to be able to hire somebody. So the documentation, everything from attestation of degree documents, depending on the role and job title that's involved. So making sure all of that is done, then taking them through to get their medicals done, their biometrics done for their Emirates ID cards, and then submitting those applications to the government authorities for approval for the visas. So we take care of all of that in A through to Z, if you like. So, at any one time, we can work with a business that's coming to set up. So we can help them set up, so get their licenses and all of the paperwork they need to be operational. We can then take care of the immigration for all of their employees and their families. And even if they have execs coming in and they want to find them that wonderful house on the Palm, and the Rolls Royce to take them to and from work, we can take care of that as well.
Because those setting up a corporate HQ or a regional subsidiary here, bringing talent from overseas is going to be a critical part of that mix. Their ability to do that will determine success, won't it?
Absolutely. And, with companies like that, they'll have a two-pronged approach. They might try and hire local, we call them local hires, or they're bringing in expats from overseas. And in bringing in those expats, I guess they have a duty of care, if you like, to make sure that they and family, if family are coming with them, have the correct approvals to be here from an immigration perspective, that they're living in a house that, it's good, it's taking care of all of their needs, their children are in school, and everything is taken care of.
The softer stuff is incredibly important, isn't it? And if companies invest to bring the right people in, they need to then make sure the house is right and everyone's happy, isn't it? Otherwise it'll be a disaster.
And that's all part of the onboarding experience for a new employee, that it's a very positive one, and that they're not left flailing trying to figure out, what do I have to do to get here? And, because if you don't know the system and how to navigate it, it can be quite challenging. And, you know, you maybe don't have the documentation right or ready. And there have been instances where people have come to us to be onboarded with their employer, but unfortunately have put their documentation in their shipment that is on the high seas and is going to take 6 or 8 weeks to get here. So you're sitting then in limbo, not becoming a resident, not being able to open a bank account, not being able to get a driver's license because your residency hasn't been finalized. So, you know, again, it's making sure that that experience is a positive one. We talk to them, we call it a discovery call, where we will sit with them, figure out everything that they need, who's coming with them. It's really important to hear the issues and what they're worried about and concerned about as well, because hopefully we can address and allay that.
Fantastic. And Dimple, you mentioned before about helping companies stay on track with filing. I mean, what kind of filing deadlines are there? How much information is disclosed? You help them navigate this process.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the UAE, typically companies have filing requirements that are to be addressed annually. So that's included there are the license renewals, lease renewals, establishment card renewals, and in some cases there are annual accounts, audited financial statements. You could have annual returns for some jurisdictions, data protection. So there's a lot of things that are involved, and that if the company misses out on that, the penalties could be quite hefty. So which is why we're offering our packages, because we believe that all of these statutory requirements, they don't have to be burdensome. So what we do at EER is we offer such services so that the companies can then focus on nurturing their business instead of spending all of the time and effort in doing all of these obligations that we can assist them with.
And with the corporate tax coming in, as Aideen mentioned, having good accounts and all of that is going to be a critical part of business going forward, isn't it? I mean, have you found clients have responded to the idea of tax coming in?
So the guidance for corporate tax has just come in, so there are still a lot of uncertainties. However, what is clear is that all of the companies that are registered in the UAE must register for corporate tax. So I think Aideen can also add on to that.
Yeah, no, that's correct. So you'll need to register, and there are exemptions. There are things like there's small business relief that is coming out. There will be 0% tax as well. They'll look at qualifying and non-qualifying income. But, you know, I think as Dimple said, the rate is 9%. And, you know, we were given very little notice that this was happening. And in general, it was received quite positively. You know, I think there was probably an expectation that it was always maybe going to come, and it's here now. But I think the biggest challenge for us all has been that we've never dealt with tax before. So, you know, I think there could be quite complex things around there in figuring out, well, you know, am I exempt? You know, what is my qualifying income, non-qualifying? Things like transfer pricing as well. All of those sorts of agreements will need to be put in place. So
that's why having a good advisory team.
That you need a good advisory team to be able to advise you and guide you along that journey, because it's a very new one for all of us here.
And as someone who has set up and is growing a business here in the UAE, I mean, what's your take on corporate culture, getting the right corporate culture to be positive and to get the team kind of growing your business behind you? I mean, when new entrepreneurs arrive here, how can they, you know, harness, I suppose, the power of good corporate governance to actually help them grow?
Well, quite recently I was at an event, and the takeaway from that event was dare to be mighty. You know, and almost be like a pirate in the sense that you charter your course, you go on that journey, and hopefully that you inspire everyone else to come along that journey with you as well. And I think, you know, having the good corporate governance, it creates a positive culture within the company. So your employees will see that things are well managed. There are very clear policies, processes in place. You're making sure that performance reviews and management, whether it's at a company level for KPIs, whether it's an individual level, and
it's,
you know, rewarding good that it's transparent, it's fair, and you're including your people in your journey. So decisions that are made are not just being made at a kind of maybe a board level or an owner level behind closed doors, and you come out and say this is what's happening, that you involve them in that decision making. So you know, at EER we've just had our strategy meeting for next year, and actually we asked our team leaders to start the process and
Yeah.
come up with their ideas for the strategy, because at the end of the day, they're the ones out in the field, they're doing it day to day and all of that. And setting a strategy is the easy part, the execution is the challenge. So by including the people who are on that ground doing that execution, I think you have a better, it's a better way to achieve your
And Dimple, EER has got very strong female leadership, setting the tone for a positive corporate culture. Do you find it a good place to work and motivating to be part of such a positive vision?
Yes, it's actually been a very good experience being under Marie and Aideen's leadership. They've allowed us to grow over the years, and they've empowered us to lead our teams. They have provided us with the support. They've provided us with the guidance in order for us to lead the team the way they envision it to be.
Great.
I didn't pay her to say.
And
Bonus time.
And just zooming out, Aideen, looking at other parts of the GCC, I mean, you mentioned on the top you've just opened in Saudi, or that's very much coming online now. I mean, what kind of opportunities do you see there for your business and helping the clients grow in Saudi Arabia?
Look, we're so excited to be there. We opened up earlier this year, and you know, I think the opportunities are huge. It's a huge economy, you know, and they have great plans with the 2030 vision. You have a very young, educated, you know, population. I think by 2025 they're saying that the majority of the population will sit somewhere between 40 and 60 years of age, and these people will have a very high disposable income and, you know, looking for luxury products, high-end services. Many of them have been educated and lived overseas. They're now returning. They see it as their time to give back. So they're coming back, but with that, bringing the demand for those services and products they became used to when they were living overseas. So we see lots of, you know, companies going in, the Saudi government, you know, with PIF and that there's some huge projects that are ongoing at the moment and lots of opportunity. So we're working with some nice corporate clients in there at the moment. You know, there's the drive to set up the regional headquarters.
Because finally the economy is becoming more open, but part of that is that there is substantial presence sort of on the ground, corporate entity, there's staff on the ground. It's not a fly-in kind of model to have success.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
They want to be dealing with somebody that is present. You know, so that's what, you know, we had looked at expanding into Saudi for a number of years, but then COVID happened, so that put an end to that. Then Marie and I, we had done the MBO, we had made some acquisitions here in the UAE, so it was finally last year that we actually had the bandwidth to be able to focus on expansion, you know, and very much about now that we have a really good, strong team in place, it enables us to be able to go and focus more in Saudi as well, which is what I'm doing. I spend 2 weeks there, two weeks here, in and out. But I mean, for now, up until now, it's been a really positive experience, and I find everybody to be very engaging, very welcoming and friendly, and it's a highly digitized country as well. So, you know, everything that you're doing, you're working a lot online, everything digitized and connected. It's also very Arabic still, so a lot of the portals that you're working with are in Arabic. Very strong Saudiization requirements as well, and
so a lot to navigate. If you want to take that opportunity, being guided and properly set up is even more important.
It's even more important, and you know, you need that Saudiization. I think is something that probably will work because you need somebody that is the Arabic speaker, has got the experience of working in Saudi to help you navigate and get around as well.
And the economy is obviously also trying to diversify. So, you know, the sports sector is one example of where they're using the capital from natural resources to go out and invest and build expertise.
Absolutely, in sports. I mean, you have Qiddiya, that sports arena and entertainment center, which is about 40 kilometers outside of Riyadh. They even have a huge, I think it's an auditorium where there'll be gaming competitions. So there'll be an audience sitting watching people gaming and all of that. There's the Neom, there's a Lula, there's all these projects. It's immense what is happening there. And, you know, for us, I think it's very important to be there. You maybe have first to market competitive advantage by being there. I think maybe some companies are still waiting to see what happens, that maybe they feel more like 24, 25 might be the time, but you know, for us, we're there, we're established and delighted to be there.
And obviously, we mentioned at the top also that Dubai has been booming. I mean, partly the Saudis are looking at Dubai and saying,
What can we do? They want to end, yeah.
what has been done here is terrific.
Yeah.
But in terms of the limits of that growth, I mean, is there challenges when companies come here? What are the challenges that are there? How do they overcome, or how do you see that?
Look, there's challenges
Yeah.
everywhere you go. So it's about finding the partner
Yeah.
who can help you navigate those finding somebody that's going to sit down, listen to you, understand what you're trying to achieve, not just in the short term, but in the long term, and building that partnership with you. So they're part of that journey and help you to continue to navigate. And, very much, I suppose, maybe in the Middle East, we're probably subject more so to geopolitical issues, economic instability and things like that. But I think over the last few years, Dubai has shown time and time again how resilient it is to any of those. And, during COVID, for example, as a global mobility company, we thought that's it, we're finished. But actually, COVID, the first year was one of our best years. So, I think we showed complete resilience. It was managed and handled really, really well. And I still think, there's a huge drive. We now have D33 vision. So again, increasing FDI. They're looking to increase the population by another 2.2 million, something like that. Where we're all going to go, I don't know, because the traffic is already a nightmare. So I don't know.
But the ambition is there, isn't it?
But the ambition is there, and they set out to do something, and it's done. Yeah.
And Dimple, have you seen your corporate clients show this resilience? It's been challenging times geopolitically, economically. There's been lots of headwinds, but do you still see your clients succeeding despite a difficult backdrop?
Yeah, it has been. We have a lot of clients that we've been managing for years. They're still here. They're still growing strong. What we notice is that they might have had changes in the way they run the company, but they still want to be in the UAE. The UAE is still where they feel they can develop their business because it's very central. So like it's 4 hours away from Europe, 8 hours away from Asia. So we feel like the clients will still have their base here, and we are confident that our partnerships with our clients are very strong and that we can still nurture that relationship for the years to come.
And DIFC still has a very strong currency and brand globally,
Yes,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you still see in the financial services sector that drawing in new people, and then perhaps looking at other options in the free zones or how they set themselves up? But DIFC is certainly a magnet, isn't it, for talent?
Absolutely. It has a great reputation internationally. It has its own courts, its own regulation and all of that. And you have your financial and your insurance companies and everything there. And we continue to see companies coming in and setting up there as well. But there are other, free zones. You have DMCC, for example, is very well considered. And then you have the offshore options as well. And of course, ADGM. In Abu Dhabi, so that's another one. Again, its own, management, well thought, well considered overseas as well. So it's proving to be also a very popular place for new companies and that to come in and set up.
Fantastic. Well, Aideen, Dimple, terrific to talk to you today, and we look forward to sharing this interview.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.